Should you do evergreen or live launching for your community membership? Let's explore what's going to work best for you in this video. Hey there, I'm Carrie Melissa Jones, and I've helped hundreds of organizations build, launch, and maintain authentically engaged communities around their brands. By the end of this video, you're going to understand what kind of marketing is going to work best for you, evergreen or cohort-based, specifically based on examples from the real-life client stories I'm going to be sharing with you today. The very first step in making this decision is understanding the difference between evergreen communities and cohort-based communities. A lot of people surprisingly get this wrong, so let's clarify here. So what is an evergreen community? An evergreen community is simply a community people can join at any time of day or night, any time of the year. Doesn't matter, there's no seasonality. So you can go to someone's website and click join now, and within moments, you can be part of their community and be initiated into it right away. There are many examples of communities like this, including a lot of membership communities that you might have participated in before or that you're looking up to. One in particular I'm thinking of is this organization called Knocked Up Fitness that allows you to join their community at any time of year, any time of day. You get immediate access to their training modules, and then you also get immediate access to their community as soon as you pass their validation through their Facebook group. So it's always available to folks. That's what distinguishes an evergreen community. On the other side, we have cohort communities. So cohort communities are communities that are only open during specific windows or seasons. So that means that maybe you have openings during, once a month, once a quarter, maybe even once a year in some really exclusive programs. And generally this coincides with the availability of different courses you might be offering, mastermind programs you might be offering. So it might make sense to stagger enrollment and bring people in at specific times versus always allowing newcomers to come in. An example of a cohort-based community is the Dreamers and Doers entrepreneurship community, which accepts people on a quarterly basis. So 4 times per year, they have an application that is open. You can apply at any time, but they only let people in during a specific window 4 times a year. Then they're all onboarded together and all initiated through the same process during those quarterly welcoming calls. A question I get all the time is, can't you do both? Can't you offer both an evergreen community with cohort-based components? And the answer to that is yes, but with major caveats, because this is a very custom setup. It's important that you do this with thought and intention so that you're not affecting the membership experience of the community when you're letting people in different cohorts, but then also letting people in throughout the rest of the year. So if this is something you're toying with, make sure you reach out to me and ask me specific questions. Now, you shouldn't just make these decisions based on your gut alone. In fact, you need to make these decisions with strategic clarity. So if you don't yet even know the best way to proceed, I recommend that you check out my workshop, How to Design Meaningful Community Programs and Experiences, which is going to help you understand who your target audience is, what their needs are, what your desires are, what kind of experience you want to create for people. That way you're not making this decision just randomly or ad hoc, and you're going to feel really good about the decision that you do make, and you're much less likely to want to change things, at least not for the first couple of months, maybe even the first year or 2 years. It's going to take you much longer to want to kind of create any kind of major shift because you have been strategic from the very beginning. Your next step will be to assess your marketing capacity and what kind of style you like. So what do I mean by this? In an evergreen community, you're going to need to be focusing on marketing all year round. That's going to require a different capacity than for a cohort-based community that's going to require marketing that is more seasonally based or based around your launch periods when you're going to have open enrollment windows. If you want to run an evergreen community membership, you're going to need to ask yourself now, what kind of capacity do I have to set up the systems and processes that I need to be marketing all year round? So what this is going to mean is you're going to have to spend the entire year thinking about different kind of marketing campaigns you want to run, what you're going to be posting on social media, how you're going to create urgency when there really is no urgency to the sign up process. People can sign up at any time. Now, there are a lot of tools out there to help you with this, including tools like Deadline Funnel, which can create some urgency throughout the year. You can create specific campaigns for specific people on your email list or within your audience or who go to your workshops. but it is going to take a focus all year round on marketing. Most of my clients don't take this approach, not because they don't have the capacity or energy to do that kind of marketing, but because it feels less authentic to them to create an experience where people are coming in all the time and where there's not an initiation or onboarding group experience. That doesn't mean the decision is right or wrong either way. It just means that that's what's working best for them. However, there are plenty of communities out there that make year-round evergreen community memberships work and that work better for them. So for example, we have a foundation client who we've worked with, and their community is open all year round. You can always join. They're able to do this because they have a marketing team that focuses on campaigns throughout the year, ongoing partnerships, social media, and so they're always thinking of creative ways to market the membership community and making sure that the experience is really smooth for everyone that joins. So how does this look different for a evergreen community? Well, in an evergreen community, you're going to focus on things like posting on social media regularly emailing your audience. You can't just be doing one-off ad hoc emails. It's going to require doing things like workshops and other kinds of press releases and public relations work that is going to continually get the word out about your membership community. It's also going to mean that you're going to need to focus on creating an onboarding experience that is powerful regardless of when someone joins. They need to feel right away that they're part of something that matters to them and that they're seen in that space and not ignored as new members. Your other option with a cohort-based community is to think about your capacity to work in short but intense bursts. So what I mean by this is that when you have a cohort-based community, you're going to have launch campaigns. These are going to take a lot of energy and effort, depending on how much structure you have in place, the kind of standard operating procedures you've created, but you're not going to have to run them year round. Instead, your focus is going to be in those short bursts on really specific campaigns and calls to action through your email, your social media, through public relations work that you might do. And then throughout the year, you're going to be wanting to grow the top of your funnel so that you're growing your overall audience, your social media followers, your email subscribers, so that when you do a launch, you're not always launching to the same group of people because you're just going to fatigue people when you do that. Finally, the thing that's going to be really different about a cohort-based program is that when you kick a cohort-based program off, it's usually a big push of work. While you do really intentional onboarding, you might do a welcome call, you might do orientation calls, you might set up an accountability buddy program for people within the cohort. So that's going to look differently for you based on whether you choose evergreen or cohort-based. One of our clients actually recently switched from evergreen to cohort, and I can talk a little bit about why. So this founder found that growing the top of her funnel throughout the year was very, very difficult for her if she didn't have a way to create urgency for people to be part of her program. So her mailing list was stagnant and she wasn't able to make much progress. And each time she would try to create emails and launch to this mailing list, it just went nowhere. So she decided instead that it would make a lot more sense to create programs throughout the year, these 6-week cohort programs, that she would invite people to join and they would get access to the community membership. And that access would last for a month, a year, however she decided to set this up. And in that way, she was able to create urgency and a cadence that people could get used to throughout the year. When she wasn't launching, she put everything into running really successful partnered workshops with other different creators, as well as reaching out to journalists and doing a lot of PR work. And that had a massive impact on the top of her funnel that she was not able to focus on when she was thinking about things as an evergreen process. But when she only had to think about launches in specific chunks of time, that freed her up to think about all the different ways that she could grow her funnel. And her community has exploded since then. As you can see, there are trade-offs to both the cohort-based and the evergreen-based model. It's normal to feel those trade-offs and to often think the grass could be greener on the other side. So when you start thinking about that, fantasizing about that, just know that it's normal and be really careful and intentional about if and when you ever do change. Now I'm curious to hear from you. Based on your energy and capacity, what feels like the right fit for you right now? Is it evergreen? Is it cohort-based? Let me know in the comments to this video. Now the third and final consideration, but not the least important consideration in making this decision. And that is to think about what your members need, what will create the best possible member experience based on your goals for your members. There are 4 key questions for you to answer here to make this decision. Number 1, how critical is it that people have a support group of peers going through this same experience with them? Is it important that they can see other people going through this journey, or is it more important that they have an individualized experience throughout this? If that peer experience is critical to the outcomes, then a cohort-based community is going to be the way to go. The second question is, will members be able to go through the program on their own, or is concierging and a custom timeline experience going to be more important for them? Now, there are creative ways to do this within an Evergreen program, but for the most part, if this concierge experience is really important, you're going to want to go through some kind of live cohort experience with people. The next question is, do you have the capacity or the team, and do you even want to fold in your new members with your veteran members of your community? That is it going to be really, really difficult for you to introduce new members on an ongoing basis in a way that actually helps them feel heard and seen in the community? If that feels like an impossible task for you, then go with the cohort model, because it is much easier to create a sense of community when people are going through a time-bound activity together. The last question to ask is, will closing off enrollment and only making it available at specific times actually hurt your cause or the members of your community? So for example, one of our clients is a foundation, a nonprofit that does fundraising throughout the year. If they were to stop people from joining their community and stop learning the skills that they teach through their foundational programs, then they would actually be hurting their own fundraising goals and therefore the cause that they're working toward. So it doesn't make sense for them to create a cohort-based community, because that actually stops progress from occurring. If you are unsure about the answers to these questions or anything else that I've shared in this video, then you need to check out the How to Design Meaningful Community Experiences and Programs workshop that I have available on my website. It is absolutely free, and it's going to give you clarity like none other in terms of who you want to gather, why you're gathering them, what their goals are, and how you're going to design a cohesive experience that's going to help them meet their goals. I hope this video was super valuable for you, provided you with a lot of strategic clarity, and make sure to let me know in the comments below which community setup is right for you, Evergreen or cohort-based. Let me know in the comments below, and also find me on Instagram at @CarrieMelissaJones. I love seeing you watch these videos. You can take a screenshot, show a picture of yourself watching the video, and let me know any questions you have about anything that I've shared here. Always happy to create new content that's specifically geared and designed toward you. Happy community building.